mean that the system was breaking down. And just like before, it ended with the collapse of an empire and the rise of a new order. All right, next up is Britain. By the 1800s, the British pound sterling was the world's reserve currency and was backed by gold. London at the time was the center of global finance. But like every empire before it, war and debt started to break the system apart. In World War I, Britain suspended the gold standard in 1914 to print more money for the war. They tried to go back to the gold standard in the 1920s, but confidence never came back. By the end of World War II, Britain was financially exhausted. They were dependent on U.S. loans, and the pound was under massive pressure. Then came the breaking point. In September 1949, Britain devalued the pound by about 30% overnight, from $4.03 down to $2.80. All right, that's how fast confidence in a reserve currency can collapse. And the effect was immediate. In sterling terms, gold doubled in value. Even Parliament admitted it at this time. In a 1949 debate, one member said, quote, "Because the government have been obliged to devalue the pound, thus increasing the value of gold, instead of the increased value going to the benefit of the state, the money has gone into private pockets." End quote. Now, in other words, those holding gold got richer overnight, while ordinary citizens were left holding weaker money. But this wasn't just a one-off. Britain went from one sterling crisis to another through the 50s into the 60s, and each time confidence eroded, gold in pound terms kept rising. By 1967, another devaluation triggered international panic. That even helped break the London gold pool, which was the last attempt to keep gold fixed. And the bigger picture here is that Britain's devaluation signaled the end of the pound's reign as the global reserve. At Bretton Woods in 1944, the dollar replaced the pound as the anchor as the world's monetary system. And once again, just like Rome, Spain, and France, when gold doubled against the currency, it marked the collapse of the empire's financial dominance. The torch had passed, this time to the US dollar. Okay, now here's where the story shifts to America, all right? This is where the blueprint that we've been seeing, where it starts to take a dangerous turn. Now, after World War II, the world needed a new monetary order. So the world got together at Bretton Woods in 1944. The US made a deal. The dollar would be pegged to gold at $35 per ounce, and every other major currency would peg to the dollar. Now, in theory, this made the dollar the world's reserve money while still providing stability. And of course, it also meant that the US had to back all those dollars, or at least pretend to. Now, in the beginning, it sort of, kind of, more or less worked. By the 1960s, the cracks began to stretch wide. The US was running trade and budget deficits, printing more dollars than they had the gold to back it up. Now, of course, other nations began redeeming dollars for gold. They understood